about this team?
This team goes through so much. We're so proud of each other. We battle for each other. Everything we do out there is for each other. So I'm so proud of this group and everyone in it.
Unreal. Nothing can describe that. It's amazing.
Just talk about what was said on the bench, third period, Justin Lee's power play goal. You know, it seemed like you guys could have took a step back, but minute 6 seconds later, you find a way again. Just talk about that.
Oh, I don't know if much was said. It was kind of just a look. It's like, okay, we're going. Step on the gas here. Let's get this thing done.
Yeah, for sure. What more can you say about James Venn, your goalie behind you? One of the best goalies the last decade, 20 years for sure in the league.
I don't think words can really describe how well he played. He was the back coach for our team all year, and he held us in it all series, all playoffs. He's just an amazing person, an amazing goalie.
Yeah, for sure. And then last question, I know you're going to celebrate here and eat something out of the cup, I'm sure, and have a little bit of fun, but how excited are you to represent the SJHL at the Centennial Cup?
Oh yeah, it's exciting. We've been looking forward to it, and I think we're ready to go now. We take a few days to celebrate, and then we're ready to go and try and get nationals.
Thanks, bud.
Awesome, thank you.
Everything is just a little bit different this time of year. The energy is different, the air is different, the stakes are different, the vibes are different, boys. It's playoff hockey season, and it's time for the SJHL Playoff Preview Show, presented by UPL, of course, our playoff sponsor and our broadcast sponsor. I'm saying hey, everyone. The comments are flowing already. Everything's flowing. Welcome inside the IKS Media Studios. I'm your host, Clark Monroe. I'm joined by Rory McGoran and Jamie Neugebauer, of course, voice of the Humboldt Broncos, voice of the Notre Dame Hounds.
I'm the voice of nothing right now.
Free agent.
The voice of...
Free agent. Free agency opens in a couple months, though. We'll get to that later.
Nah, I'm open.
Welcome inside. Welcome inside. You want to do this job interview right now?
Hey, any team need me, I'm yours.
There we go. Welcome inside the IKS Media Studios. As I mentioned, I'm your host, Clark Monroe. We have your annual playoff preview show today. Extremely excited. Thank you to Connor Tate for that opening video. I know he didn't want any credit, but I'm giving it to him.
Attaboy.
Connor Tate, great guy. Playoff hockey season in Canada always hits a little bit differently. So we want to break it all down for you as we kind of recap the regular season and dive right into the heavy conversations that will come with these playoff previews, these series matchup previews, and everything that goes along with it. We're going to be joined by Tony Dalglish of UPL Canada a little bit later on in the show, who is, of course, the playoff sponsor for the SJHL and all of our broadcasting as well. So thank you to Tony and everybody at UPL. We'll talk to him a little bit later. Plus, we're going to announce all of our award winners, our year-end award winners, except for one. We'll talk about why that is later on in the show, but that will be in segment 3 of the show. So if you want to see what's going on, or if anyone from your team won those awards, stick around for this entire show, and we'll get to it later. And we're going to be joined by one of our sponsors, but we want to make sure we thank all of our sponsors, and that, of course, starts with Borgo, Capital Auto Mall, Cantera Seeds, Chevrolet, Sask Lotteries, Saskatchewan Construction Safety Association, Nutrien, Tourism Saskatchewan, Sask Energy, UPL, as I mentioned, SGEU, Great Western, SGI, and RBC. Thanks to all of them. And make sure, if you're tuned in on social media, of course, you want to make sure you hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, comment in, let us know what you want to talk about. What are some of your headlines for these playoff series matchups? But make sure you let us know on Facebook and YouTube. If you're watching on Twitter, hit that retweet button, send us a comment or something along those lines. Make sure you get your Flow Hockey subscription, as you can see down here. Follow us on Instagram, TikTok, etc., etc. Let's bring the boys back in. Gentlemen, the air is different. Can you feel it?
That video got me fired up.
The tingles.
Unbelievable.
Tingles. Yeah, and who made it? Connor Tate.
I was going to go with anonymous, but...
Anonymous.
Yeah. As you can see behind Rory's shoulder here, the Cantera Seeds Cup is in the building, folks. It's in the building. And guess who's on it? The Melfort Mustangs from last season, the Battlefords North Stars from the season prior to that. All of their names are engraved on this trophy. Whose names will come onto this third spot right here? We're going to find that out in just the next couple of weeks, and we'll let you know who's facing who's going to be taking on who, what are some key matchups, what are the X factors for each of these series that are coming up in the next week or two. It's going to be an exciting time, and these two gentlemen are going to break it down for you. But before we get to the playoff matchups, let's look at just this past weekend, because there were some games we want to just wrap up the regular season with. So let's start on Friday. As we can see, it was the Yorkton Melville playoff preview, as the Yorkton Terriers took game 1 6-3 against the Melville Millionaires on Friday. Estevan beat their division rival Weyburn 4-2 on Friday night. Humboldt beat the Nipawin Hawks 6-1. That secured their spot in the play. Oh, well, I guess they were already secured, but it pushed them a little bit closer to possibly locking down 6th. However, their foe, the Battlefords North Stars, also won that night, which gave them a good chance to stay in that race, beating Kindersley, who needed a point, and they got a point, but L'Orange also got a win, so it wasn't quite over yet until Saturday. As we look into Saturday now, Flin Flon beat L'Orange, which gave Kindersley the last playoff spot on Saturday by, what's the word I'm looking for? By default. L'Orange eliminated themselves from the playoffs with that loss.
Yeah.
Yes. Weyburn beat Estevan on Saturday to wrap up their season. Melville got revenge on Yorkton, and boy, are the vibes in that series amazing as they split the weekend series, and the road teams won both games. You gotta love it. Melfort handled the Notre Dame Hounds 7-1 in that kind of make-up reschedule game that was kind of weird from the Friday night weather incident. And then the Battlefords got a 6-0 win over Kindersley. So again, Kindersley sort of backing their way into the playoffs. We'll talk about that in a moment. And then on Sunday, to wrap up the regular season, but also the Notre Dame Hounds Junior A franchise, the Melfort Mustangs had a 4-2 win in Wilcox against those Hounds to wrap up the season. And Riley Kotai locked up the leading scorer of the league in the regular season as well that night. So, gentlemen, I think before we dive into the playoff series, we have to look at how the standings ended up. So let's have a look at that now, the league standings. This is how it all shook down. This is how the cookie crumbled, as they say. The Melfort Mustangs finished in first place, of course, with 46 wins, passing Flin Flon from last season, who had 44 wins. We were just looking at that. Flin Flon last year had 91 points. Melfort this year, 94. The Flin Flon Bombers in second place this year with 81 points. Weyburn with 72. Yorkton with 68 in fourth place. Melville battling there with 65, and their season series is amazing. We'll talk about that in a second. Battlefords with 63. They took a division title, as you can see with the Y beside their name, just barely squeaking it out over the Humboldt Broncos, and then the Kindersley Clippers finished in 8th. You see L'Orange there, they battled all the way to the last weekend, but couldn't quite pull it off with 53 points. Estevan, Nipawin, and Notre Dame round out the standings there. And then we look at the divisions. As you can see, here are the division winners. So we can hang these title banners up in these stadiums as we go on forward here. Weyburn Red Wings locked down the Viterra Division Championship. The Melfort Mustangs locked down the Sherwood Division Championship. And as I just mentioned, Battleford squeaked it out over the Humboldt Broncos by 1 point to get their Nutrien Division Championship. So gentlemen, I think it's time now, with all of those standings out of the way, we know how it all ended. Now what's coming up next? Well, let's start with the number 1 Melfort Mustangs against the number 8 Kindersley Clippers. This is the head-to-head matchup. As you can see, Melfort took all 4 games this regular season. You can see their records side by side. Obviously, Melfort's record was unbelievable. The goals for, Melfort has a huge edge. The goals against, the Mustangs have a huge edge. The special teams, the Mustangs have a huge edge. The individual scoring leaders, the Mustangs have a huge edge. Gentlemen, does this seem like it's a big mountain to overcome for Kindersley, or are we overlooking something? What's going on? Nugs, I'm going to start with you on this one.
Yeah, I mean, Kindersley's also struggled down the stretch.
I just saw that.
That's good. Kindersley struggled down the stretch, 4 of 5. Really let L'Orange back into it. The Ice Wolves deserve a lot of credit for making it interesting by the end. Now look, it's a new season. We start again. And as good as the Melfort Mustangs are, as consistent as they have been, fellas, I don't know that we look at them the same way that we've looked at the Flin Flon of last year, the Battlefords of the year before that, and the Estevan of the year before that. So yes, certainly 1v8, you expect the one to be a big favorite, but Rory, big picture, do you look at them the same way as you look at those 3 teams?
You should.
Okay.
Like, they have more wins than Flin Flon did last year. So if you don't look at them the same way, I think you're underappreciating what Melfort did this season. They maybe don't have the same pizzazz as those other teams did, which, you know, Kean Bell leads the league. The litany of offense that Flin Flon had, it kind of jumps off the page in an exciting way, where Melfort is just the most complete team that I've seen. And yes, they're in the same regard. And to answer your question, Clark, it's a massive mountain for the Kindersley Clippers to climb. Crazy things have happened in the playoffs, but when you probably look at betting odds, which there aren't in the SJHL, but this would be the one that is skewed on in an astronomical rate for the underdog payout for the Kindersley Clippers, as opposed to any of the 3 seasons. It's a huge task at hand. They're the defending champions. They won 46 games in the regular season. They're first in 80% of statistical categories. And this is what Kindersley, who backed into the playoffs, at one point, they were in 6th. They were trying to push for 5th, hold on to 7th. They didn't have to face Melfort, but they didn't have a good finish to the stretch. Luckily, got into the playoffs. And this is your task at hand in the first round, the defending champions.
Yeah, it's been an up and down season for not just the Clippers, but a lot of players on the Kindersley Clippers. I think about a guy like Mason Buchert, whom they got at the trade deadline from L'Orange. Can he kind of reinvigorate how we view that trade with a good series, no matter what happens with the Clippers here? I think that's a thing that we can think about too. But still, this is the SJHL. Anything can happen.
So you basically said the season series between the two was a 4-0 win for the Melfort Mustangs, right?
Yeah, break it down for me.
They outscored the Kindersley Clippers 16-6 throughout those 4 games. So basically a 3-1 win in every game, a 4-1 win in all 4 games. So only 6 goals against in the 4 games for the Melfort Mustangs. Melfort also had a 27.3% power play in those 4 games and an 84% penalty kill, meaning that the power play for the Kindersley Clippers was 3 for 19, 15.8%. So once again, it's just like, nothing in the regular season is indicating that Kindersley can thwart the defending champions, but this isn't the regular season, and that's the thing. It's the playoffs.
Yeah, and one thing that was really interesting, I was talking to director Bryce before the show started, and he said, hey, do you want me to pull highlights for these matchups? And I said, sure, just pick the last game. And these guys haven't played each other since January 15th. It's been like 2.5, 3 months since these guys have actually played each other. And a couple of the series are actually that way, which I found really interesting. Just a small little note. Nugsy, did you want to add to that at all?
Yeah, I think these are like back when they played in January. I think we maybe looked at the Clippers a little bit differently as well. Hey, still a very similar lineup. You just add Mason Buchert. So yeah, we'll see what happens.
Okay, well, let's talk about this then. Between these 2 teams, obviously we talked about how much of a mountain this could be, or it appears to be. What are some matchups that you think are going to be key for this series?
Yeah, so my key matchup is, and I love the kind of top line versus top pairing matchup all the time. I find that a fascinating thing, and how much a coach sticks to it and needs to stick to it. But clearly the 2 U-Sport commits on the back end for Kindersley, Kyler Smith and Ethan Hilbig, should get a big dose of whatever Josh Riley Kotai's line looks like. It was Zach Summers and Ashton Hutchinson down the stretch there. I believe that any Melfort Mustangs pair really could, I think Trevor Blevins will be comfortable against any of Kindersley's lines.
I would think so.
But you'd think that the Smith and Hilbig pairing, which is the biggest, most experienced pairing for sure on Kindersley's back end, will get the Kotai unit. And then you kind of hope that Herchak and whoever can shut down whoever's on the second line, which is still going to be deadly for Melfort too. But that's sort of the matchup that I'm going to see a lot, I'm sure.
Roy, what do you think matchups to watch?
So
here?
I have Kindersley's forecheck against Melfort's sound breakout. And it kind of under a bigger umbrella is eagerness versus effectiveness. Kindersley has to want this more, and they have to want it more at a level that they've never wanted anything else in order to beat the Melfort Mustangs. Dawson Carroll, the Perlingers, Will Christian, all these forwards, every time it's down below the net, they need to finish every single forecheck, body check attempt that they possibly have. They have to try to wear down. If it's quick series, I know it's not easy to wear down a defense unit, but the forecheck has to be your most aggressive that it's ever been. You have to try and take this puck and time away from the Melfort Mustangs, who are just so systematically sound at moving it throughout their own zone, carrying it out, setting up the offense down the boards, going low to high, getting traffic to the front of the net, and burying you. So eagerness of the Kindersley Clippers needs to outweigh the effectiveness of the Melfort Mustangs, and that just trickles down into the forecheck has to be better than the breakout, and that's my matchup I'm watching.
Yeah,
perfect.
For sure.
X factors. What do we think could be the one thing that could set this series apart for either team?
Well, I guess I'll go first again, and it has to be discipline for the Kindersley Clippers. I mean, obviously we can talk about the goaltending matchup here in a second too, and I'd like to go into that a little bit. But the biggest thing for me is discipline. Kindersley had the most penalty minutes, third most penalty minutes, in the SJHL. If it's a Melfort power play all series, then it's going to be a short series. And obviously that's the way it is a lot when you're the underdog, right? You need goaltending, you need discipline. Got to keep it 5-on-5, and we've talked all year about how the Kindersley Clippers have done a nice job being that grimy, get under your skin team, and I think they need to buy into that big time and try to frustrate the Riley Kotais and the Zach Summers of the world in this series if they're going to be successful. They had a hard time in March walking that line. They went over the line, they took a lot of penalties, except for the game against the Humboldt Broncos, which Rory always talks about how teams seem to have more power plays than the Broncos. But other than
don't worry, we're getting there.
Just throw that one out. The Clippers were a severe power play deficit throughout March, and that can't be the way it is in this series.
So I've a different. Did you go both? Or just the Kindersley Clippers?
I just went for like the X factor for the whole series.
For the whole series, okay. This time I kind of separated it. For the Melfort Mustangs, it's the coaching. It's Trevor Blevins and Ty Scherger because everyone expects Melfort to win this series. So I want to see this series being won like a trampoline effect of what you want to see in the semifinals and in the SJHL finals. Look, they have a ton of returning players from their championship series. So can you coach and teammate your way for the rest of them that weren't there last year into playing the same way you did last run in the playoffs? Everyone expects Melfort to win this series, so I want to see how they're going to win it and if they can even galvanize more as a group into the series that on paper looks like they're going to be harder. For the Kindersley Clippers, it's the ability to throw Melfort off their game. It's what they've been doing all season long. I want them to mix it up after every single whistle. You have to get in the face of the Melfort Mustangs because if you can get them frustrated, an unfrustrated Melfort team is almost unbeatable in this league. You got to make them uncomfortable. Just for a second, take their mind off of the next face-off, the next play, and get them mad at you for a bit, and then you capitalize on that. It's the X factor for Kindersley. It has been all series, and we'll see if they can do it to the Mustangs.
And that point is very similar to mine, right? Like being on the line and not going over it.
You need to be able to shake the Mustangs, or else there's not a lot of cracks in their game.
Because it's tough.
Exactly. Nugsy, I know you have some burning questions here.
So
do you want to touch?
I'll throw out my 3 burning questions, and you guys can maybe pick one. That way, kind of thing. So here are my 3 burning questions. Will the Clippers lean on Cody Jamin or SaskTel Goaltender of the Year nominee and rookie Brett O'Halloran? O'Halloran had better numbers on the year. Jamin kind of finished the year, and he's a veteran. So which one do you believe the Clippers will go with? Second question is, how will the Clippers generate offense, either even strength from the power play against this Melfort team defense that gave up the fewest amount of goals by any team in a regular season since 2018-19. And they only gave up 123 goals against the Melfort Mustangs did. And how will the Mustangs handle their first significant games in a while since they had their first overall spot locked up since the first day of March? So the revving of the engine question.
Well, I was going to ask earlier, and Rory, I'll let you touch on this, but I'll just kind of start it off and you can finish it off because I know you'll want to. But Cody Jamin and Brett O'Halloran, to me, is the question mark because out of all of the teams that are remaining in the playoffs, there's a few where we're like, I wonder who's going to get game one. There's a few, but this one to me is the most.
Yeah, no idea.
Because unless Clayton Jardine texts you right now, we won't.
He's not going to.
He's not going to. He's not.
I wouldn't
He's not going to. Exactly. But it's going to be a very good question because you have that 20-year-old who's been around for a while, who usually you lean to the vet, especially when you have a rookie. But Brett O'Halloran has been so good. Goalie of the Year candidate, like you said. Rookie of the Year candidate, like you said. So it's like, do you go with the guy who's kind of been your rock all year, or do you go with the guy he's earned it? It's his 20-year-old season. It's his last hurrah. He's been around the block. He's seen these tough things before. So Rory, maybe I'm framing that question differently than Nugsy did. I didn't really add much to it, but what do you think they'll do?
I think it's the only series where a goaltender has only earned game one. Every other goaltender, I think Melville's got a really good pairing where I don't really know where they go with them, and Yorkton as well. So that series maybe two. But both O'Halloran and both Jamin have earned game one, and if they don't win, and if it's shaky goaltending, make a switch.
We could see all 4 goalies in this series.
You definitely could.
We could see Malaka even get a start.
Oh, 100%.
I would, and I'm not a coach for probably a multitude of reasons.
You'd be great, though.
I would start Jamin. And if that's answering that burning question of just what I would do, I would go with Cody Jamin.
I would have to lean that way as well.
I agree,
yeah. Like you said, though, he's earned game 1, given his status
He's
as vet.
only owned game 1.
And then the luxury of where Clayton Jardine is sitting right now is he's got an award finalist sitting in his back pocket if he needs him.
Right.
So I think that's where I'd go.
And if you start O'Halloran and you sit Jamin, then you run the risk of Jamin not being a problem because he seems like a great young man.
I know what you're talking about.
But just like he's got to be like, oh, like I'm 20, like why am I not starting? Whereas O'Halloran's like, well, I'm the rookie, like I get it. So
you would probably think that would
just
be
sort of that dynamic.
The ramifications
I would
of
agree.
switching goaltender into game 2 is less when Jamin starts game 1.
Right. Yeah, and the other burning question, Nugsy, I think how they're going to generate offense, I think you kind of mentioned it, is I think they're really going to, well, the forecheck for sure, absolutely. I love that point by you. But I think they're really going to have to get something more out of their prized big fish splash. And I'm not calling Mason Buchert out, but I think at the same time, I think Dawson Carroll, Mason Buchert, those veteran guys up front, Zach Anderson, they need to play out of their mind good. And we maybe haven't seen that necessarily like we thought we would since the trade deadline. So I think I think for me, if I were to throw an X factor out there, I would say if Mason Buchert comes in to this series
great X factor.
And says, you know what, I'm going to play the way I know I can. And guys, he was top 15 in scoring before the trade deadline. He kind of fell off a little bit. And I think he's got it in him. Can he pull that out against an opponent that's, like we said, this mountain of an opponent that's staring him in the face? And this great blue line that Melfort has, that no matter who Mason Buchert goes out there with, he's going to get a really good pairing staring him back. At,
Trevor Blevins does not need to match his D.
No, he'll be okay.
Like, no disrespect, doesn't need to.
Yeah. So,
well,
guys.
all 3 pairings are great.
Yeah, well, that's my point.
Now that we've mentioned some burning questions, do you want to touch on any of the burning questions, Nugsy, at all? Or?
I know what you're about to ask here.
Just that Melfort. I'm not concerned about them revving their engine for game 1.
Right.
They have so much experience of going far in the playoffs. And you talk about them, having all that experience and then trying to teach the new guys. Well, those new guys aren't new. Like Andrusiak and Kotai and, you go down the list, Turner. Like, these are guys who've been around the block in junior hockey and are hungry to win. Haven't maybe had that many playoff games where they were.
Right.
But they're going to be hungry and veteran, and they'll be fine.
I agree. Now, I'm just going to, before we get to, I know where I'm going with this, but let's read a couple of comments from our resident goalie expert here at IKS Media, Kelly Lewick. He says, hot take, but go with Jamin, and it's his to lose. As a rookie to come in relief, if needed, would be easier to come in that way.
Well, that's the point.
So I think that's kind of where we're going. Mark Zosel, he's already thrown out all of his predictions.
He might have typed it before you said it.
Probably, 100%.
Yeah, I'm just reading it now. But Mark Zosel on YouTube.
What I said.
Mark Zosel on YouTube, he's throwing out his predictions already. So, hey, listen, if you're watching, if you're tuned in on Facebook or YouTube, throw in your predictions now. Now's the time. We'll read them all later in the show. But Mark Zosel already got his in, and he's from Melfort, guys. So he's saying Melfort in 4. Might be a little biased.
You
but
sure
at the same
about
time,
that?
Yeah, thank you, Bryce. Don Williams saying playoff hockey brings a whole other level of greatness. Cannot wait. Patricia Gosman says Melfort has played amazing since they secured first place. They're playing with heart and determination to win the Cantera Cup again this year. So there's Patricia speaking up. Lyndon Harper says Melfort and Flin Flon rematch in the final. So we got a lot of people tuning in. Megan says, what a polished and expertly executed introduction to today's show. Connor Tate. Okay. I was told before the show not to mention Connor Tate, so I'm jokingly doing it over. I'm overdoing it.
He's good at what he does.
He's great at what he does. Okay, guys. Melfort, Kindersley, predictions. Nugsy, I'm going to start with you. Prediction time.
Thank God.
I know. I knew you were breathing deep.
I hate predictions.
I know you do. Hey, you're a free agent now.
I'll tell a prediction.
I'm sorry. Like, sorry, Clippers. I think it's a sweep. Get mad at me if you want. I think it's Melfort in 4.
Yeah.
So they just look so good right now.
Right.
Yeah, I don't like the way Kindersley entered the playoffs. So now they're in a spot where it's not, wow, this is a team that's playing good. I think they could steal a game or two. It's like, I need to see them play good before I give them credit to beat the defending champions who won 46 games, I'm going to say Melfort in 4.
Yeah, I'm going to also agree with you there. Bulletin board material, if it has to be.
Hey, we're trying to help you, Jards.
But listen, when Kindersley backed their way in the way that they did, getting in by a loss from another team, and Melfort has been nothing but solid all the way through.
Yeah. Now here, my little caveat is, I think they'll be tight games.
Sure.
I don't think they'll be blowouts.
Sure.
Because Clippers will keep it in, but who in the league is better than the Melfort Mustangs in tight games?
Yeah.
They went 18-0-0-2, and the 2 were late in the year. It didn't matter any more games.
Like 3-1 type games. Like 3-1 type games.
They're just crazy.
Yeah.
So
2-1, 3-1.
I think they'll be tight games. Yeah.
I agree. Let's go. That's I like that. Let's have a look at the schedule then. How is this series going to look in terms of when you need to buy tickets and when you need to be at the rink? Well, if you're in Melfort, it's March 21st and March 22nd. Back-to-back nights. If you're in Kindersley, it's March 25th, March 26th. That's games 3 and 4. And then if it goes to game 5, it'll be March 29th in Melfort. If it goes to game 6, March 31st in Kindersley. And game 7 will be April 7th, which is a Wednesday in Melfort. So there you go. There's your...
the Fouliards Cup.
There's the series schedule. It'll be all on the website if you need to go look. As of now, it's out there now. So if you need to go look after this graphic comes down, you can do that. Get your tickets now. If you're in Melfort or Kindersley, pack those rinks. All right, let's move on to the second series. This is going to be the number 2 Flin Flon Bombers versus the number 7 Humboldt Broncos. Humboldt just lost their spot in 6th right at the last weekend of the season. So they did slip down into 7th to get this matchup. But Flin Flon had this number 2 lockdown for quite a while, just waiting to see who their opponent would be. Flin Flon has the 3-1 season series head-to-head record. You can see there, Flin Flon had 81 points to Humboldt 62. The goals for, Rory mentioned this before the show to me, the goals for nearly identical, 207 to 204. Couldn't be closer. Well, it could be a little closer, I guess.
By 3.
Could be a little closer. But goals against, big difference. And a lot of that has to do with Matthew Keeper, who is a goaltender of the year finalist and an MVP of the year finalist. We'll get to that later on in the show. So a big difference there. But Rory, you made a great point, and I'll let you finish this later on. I'll let you add to this. But after Dazza Mitchell and before Dazza Mitchell, big difference. So we'll talk about that in a sec. But guys, that's the overview of the season series, the head-to-head matchup, the numbers. Rory, can you dive in a little bit deeper, though, if you don't mind, on some more deeper numbers with this series?
So these are 2 teams, 3 playoff series against each other in the last 5 years. This will now be the 4th in 6 years. Flin Flon has won all 3 of those playoff series, and they won them 12-3 in the games. 1 sweep and 2 5-game series. They were close games, but series not really close. Flin Flon took care of business, winning 12 out of the 15 games that they played. Season series 3-1 in favor of the Flin Flon Bombers. Goal differential in those games very close though, 11-8 in favor of Flin Flon, with 3 out of those 4 games being 1-goal games. 1 that the Broncos won and 2 that the Flin Flon Bombers won. Here's a big one though. Flin Flon power play in the series was 19%. The Humboldt Broncos 5%. Flin Flon penalty kill stopped 19 of 20 in the 4 games, held a 95% penalty kill rating, and that's kind of just a little bit of numbers throughout the season series.
There you go. Nukes, you want to dive into that a little bit more? You got anything for that?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if I'm taking any of your thunder. You can't be 5% on the power play in the series if you're the Humboldt Broncos.
Hot take.
No, you cannot.
I don't want to talk too much because we're going to dive right in now. But I also just want to say I have never in my time in the SJHL, and that's 2017, seen a harder to predict 2 versus 7 playoff series like at all. And I know a lot of people out there would agree with that. So that's all I'm going to say right now.
These 2 teams have not played each other since January 12th, as we can see on this highlight pack that's rolling right now. And it, like you said, Nugsy, you've been on Humboldt's train all year, saying that they are a better squad than maybe it appears on their standings and their records and all of their numbers. Now I'm going to say one of the headlines for me going into this series is going to be the Dazza Mitchell effect. And I don't want to put too much pressure and too much weight on it, but I do believe that Humboldt was a different team pre and post that trade. Rory, maybe you'll agree with me, maybe you'll disagree with me, but I do think that could be, and if I'm just jumping ahead to the category that we haven't gotten to yet, but in terms of X factors, I would have to say that is my biggest X factor in this series. Is that something that's overblown? Is that too much?
No. I mean, he's one of the best goaltenders in the SJHL, hands down. And also, happy birthday, as well today to Dazza, who turns 21 today.
Yep.
So big happy birthday for him. He has more games experienced in the SJHL than any other netminder in the playoffs. Over 7,500 minutes played in the SJHL. He eclipsed over 4,000 saves in his last game, or second last game, I should say. So, no, you are not overstating it. It is a huge get. They knew it was a huge get at the trade deadline. And he's going to have to play just as good, if not better, if even possible, than what he's done since coming to the Broncos, which is a .932 save percentage since being acquired by Humboldt, which is pretty spectacular. So he isn't my X factor, but I just want to concur with what you say.
There you go. Now, this is one of the games shortly after Daza was acquired. Doesn't even have his name on the back of his jersey yet at this point.
Games 3 or 4 of the regular season series were the first 2 games that Daza Mitchell played in Humboldt Broncos jersey.
Right. Yeah. So this is fresh Daza Mitchell in Humboldt Broncos uniforms. Let's dive into the matchups to watch. Newsy, I'll start with you. What is your biggest matchup right now in this series?
Yeah, I mean, I think the most complete forward in the league this year has been Keith Gruner. Just in all 3 areas, and he has been wonderful. And so I think his line is the line with Piccinino that Braden Klamosko will probably be circling pretty closely. Obviously, then you leave Ryder Ringer, who had actually led the Bombers in scoring, for somebody else, maybe Ryder Knutson, who's been wonderful for Humboldt this year as well. But Oakley McIlwain versus Keith Gruner, mano a mano. 2 guys who are so complete at the SJHL level, 2 guys who were 2 and 3 in the SJHL in plus minus. This year, Keith Gruner was plus 34, Oakley McIlwain was plus 33. I really hope that Oakley McIlwain is at least close to 100% health-wise. I think the Broncos in general have had some injury issues lately. I guess who doesn't at this point in the season, but the Broncos have some key guys. But that's the one, and those 2 guys are going to get plenty of ice time, especially Oakley McIlwain.
I went with the battle in the house, net front presence battle. So on the Flin Flon side, this is where they've made their money. This is why they've been in the final. Well, this and the 50-50 at the Whitney Forum is where they made their money. But
literally, and the Donair burgers. Holy, does that look good?
They're so good. They're so good in the trapezoid.
Oh, I thought you meant the Donair burgers.
Well, those are good too.
I have to have one.
Donair poutine's pretty decent.
I know, but I
too.
saw the burger for the burger challenge, and I haven't stopped thinking about it since.
They know what they're doing up
I don't know if you can tell. I haven't stopped thinking about it since the burger challenge video came
Both
out.
in the canteen and in the house.
Oh man, I'm in trouble. I'm in trouble.
So yeah, this is where they made their money. They protect their goaltender so well. They let him see the puck, and they're also just miserable for any forward of the opposition team to get in there. On Humboldt's side, they've been a bit wavy at times. However, over the course of the season and down the latter months, they've gotten extremely good at protecting their house, almost to where I watch them on an 85% game-by-game basis, and I'm like, this is what Flin Flon is so successful at. I'm like, I love seeing how much they're protecting it, how much they're boxing out by their defensemen. They're allowing Daza to see it. They're punishing in there. They got a couple big, strong, mean defensemen. Liam Rodman, Ryder Knutson, Oakley McIlwain, right? Like there's some guys there that will throw around the body.
I could not be a bigger fan of the Knutson-Olsen pairing.
Or an Olsen,
how good those guys have been, especially just in their defending own zone. They don't get tons of credit for tons of points and whatever, but man, I was keeping track when we were calling Melville Humboldt of how many just great, high-quality, snuff-it-out situation plays Oren Olsen made. Just time and time and time again. He got to 6 or 7 in that game against Melville. He's been unbelievable for Humboldt lately.
Trey Fouquet, another one that I forgot to mention. Yeah. So the Broncos have become a team that I think can rival the house battle that I've given year after year. The best team in the league at this is the Flin Flon Bombers. I think Humboldt now is in a spot they can rival them. These 2 teams are 1 and 2 in shots toward the net per game. Yeah. So they generate the most shot opportunities. The battle and the matchup to watch for me is how difficult are you going to make these shots for your goaltender, right? How difficult are you going to make them? Humboldt, how difficult are you going to make them to Matthew Keeper? Flin Flon, how difficult are you going to make them to Daza Mitchell? Because I think that's where the games are going to be won. It's in that tight little trapezoid area. Who's going to want it more in there? And that's my matchup to watch.
Yeah.
Love that. X factors, guys. Nugsy, I'll start with you. X factors in this series.
Rory McGoran calling games for Humboldt against Rob Hart, calling games for Flin Flon.
Legendary.
What a matchup that is!
Let's be honest.
That's a great. Whichever team you tune into is going to be. Every game is going to be.
We're going to try to be as big
well.
of part of the outcome on the ice as possible.
What I can't wait for
combo.
is hearing Rob Hart and Rory's call and Rory and Rob Hart's call and the overlapping.
I think it's more likely we'll hear Rob Hart in the EPA.
That's what I mean. Yeah.
But anyways, the question for me is: can Humboldt's big boys be Humboldt's big boys? Streetsy was good in the playoffs last year. He had good playoffs. Kai Benosh has not had many playoff games in his junior career. I think 0 in his junior A career. He had some in the VI. But, other than that, you're going to see, one of Liam Hunks or Cole Tanchuk or Luke Lepper on the ice all the time on the back end for Flin Flon. So those guys will have a really premium defenseman trying to stop them all series long. Can they be at their best against those guys? So actually the X factor for me is Jacob Streetsy and Kai Benosh.
Yeah, there you go. Rory?
My X factor is Hart.
Rob Hart?
No, but shout out to Rob Hart. But Gene Hackman, who just passed away, and the replacements, Miles and Miles of Hart, right? For Shane Falco. Who's going to be a Shane Falco? But it goes down to the returning players that both teams have that suffered heartbreaking losses last year in the playoffs. Flin Flon in the finals to Melfort, Humboldt in Game 7 overtime to Melfort. Humboldt has 10 returning players, 2 of whom are injured and they don't expect to be back into the lineup, so 8. Flin Flon has 9 returning players, but 1 is their backup goaltender, so 8. There's 8 apiece.
Yeah.
Is your 8 going to want it more than their 8 of the knowledge and the pain that's in your head and in your heart? Because that can go a long way to find that extra gear when you need it the most. And that's my X factor, is those 8 that are on the lineup that suffered the heartbreaking losses last year.
I'm going to throw out another, either it's a matchup or X factor, I don't know. But what a coaching matchup, too.
Great coaching matchup.
Braden Klamosko versus Mike Reagan, like 2 first ballot SJHL Hall of Famers duking it out. Mike
and
Reagan
has
nothing but
the last
respect.
3 coaches of the years?
Pretty much,
right?
Yeah. So
and
it's going to be a great chess match.
It's a huge spark for Humboldt because Braden has always had success in the Whitney Forum, right? He has had more success than what Scott Barney did with the Humboldt Broncos just against Flin Flon. Yeah. So can he kind of wrangle something in that magic pocket of his to get them through this series?
Hey, remember 2023, right? We did our finals preview and we said, hey, the Whitney's got to be big for Flin Flon against Battlefords there, and Braden and the Stars went in and it was not a factor.
Yeah. One thing I'm going to throw in here for an extra X factor, if you guys don't mind, and I want to bring up, I'm going to ask the guys in the back to throw this comment up from Sal Wolishin. Sal is our resident spy, apparently, on Flin Flon Bombers practice. Guy, He's spying on practice. And he says, watching Bombers practice this week, Carruthers is back.
Yeah, that doesn't shock me.
Now, we haven't seen Leighton Carruthers much. It's been a while, at least.
January 11th, I think.
Yeah, right after I picked him in the fantasy league.
Actually, right before, but
yeah. Either way, I'm going to throw this X factor in there. Could Leighton Carruthers, if he's back and healthy and ready to roll, be an X factor for the Flin Flon Bombers? Maybe not just in this series. Might take him 3 or 4 games to get going. Maybe just the whole playoffs in general. Leighton Carruthers, guys.
I think, he's a very, very talented player with 220 games of major junior experience. He's got to be ready, though. This is not a series where you have 2 or 3 games to get ready. So I think they're taking a big onus on, if he's in the lineup, he's ready. Yeah. Because if he's 60%.
Well, I don't know. Again, I'd be curious to see what's. I'm not saying Sal's not telling the truth. I'm just saying, I'd be curious to know what it means that he's back, or is he? I understand that he's in Flin Flon. Mm-hmm. I understand he might be skating. Mm-hmm. Is he on a regular line? Is he on no contact? Right. My feeling is that Carruthers won't be in the lineup game 1. I don't know that for 100% fact, but that's how I feel, based on what I've heard about the situation. Mike Reagan could be throwing us all a curveball, and wouldn't surprise me one bit. But obviously, he's an elite player. And then, maybe you throw in, on that Gruner Piccinino line, you throw in Carruthers instead of, with no disrespect to Ryder Muka, instead of Ryder Muka, who's a very good rookie, but he's a rookie.
Yeah.
That makes a very, very difficult situation to know which line to match up against.
And you know what? When we talked to Mike Reagan earlier in the season, his big thing was the luxury he has is those rookies have been very good.
Very good.
Yeah.
And he hasn't had to rely on a super veteran lineup like he has in past years because he has these excellent rookies at his disposal. So shout out to all those guys for having great seasons up there. All right, where are we at? Burning questions.
Burning questions. Right. So again, same thing. You could pick what you want. Jacob Streetsy led the Broncos by 18 points. If the Bombers shut him down, who is going to be counted on to generate offense for the Broncos? The second question is, who will be better in this incredible goaltending matchup between Matthew Keeper and Humboldt Staza Mitchell? Because again, how do you come up with a better goalie matchup?
Honestly, I think it's the best one we got
right now.
It's the best one we got.
That's unbelievable.
Yeah.
And how many minutes can Oakley McIlwain play, and how many minutes does he need to play in this series? I believe he was, around like 23, 24 minutes per game. Going to be more in the playoffs, you would think. As long as he's healthy, how many minutes can he play? Because Braden Klamoska will throw him out there. So which of those three questions do you want to?
What was the wording again of your Streetsy question?
Well, I just said if the Bombers shut Streetsy down, which is easier said than done. But if they do, who's going to be the man for the Broncos?
Who's the other? Who's going to step up? Well, Rory, it's probably up your alley, but I will say that you mentioned him. I think Kai Banosh has to have a big one, and I know that his family's probably watching, so hello. But I honestly think, he's been a really important player for them. And outside of Streetsy, I just want to throw this out there in full transparency. Jacob Streetsy got my MVP vote. I threw it out there. I thought just given the impact that he had compared to everyone else on the roster, stats-wise at least, I threw it out there. And I think, Nugsy, you've said it a few times, he's one of the purest goal scorers in the league. So again, if they can shut that down, it's going to have to be a guy like Kai Banosh, who's been so good. It's going to have to be a guy like, I'm going to say a Maddox Amaral who's going to have to step up. He's been around for a while. He knows his way around these playoffs. He had a big playoff last year against Melfort. I remember all the way deep into the playoffs. He was part of that roster. He was on that roster making an impact. A guy like Connor Miller, I don't know what his health status is at the moment. He's only played 39 games this year. Is he looking fine? He's good to go?
Miller's good to go.
He looked great in Melville when I saw him.
A guy like Captain Landon Stromey. We got these guys who I think have been around. Merrick Mamich, who's had a great season. If you look at how underrated Merrick Mamich's season has been.
So what you're saying is the Broncos have a bunch of pretty good forwards. One of them, please step up.
Yeah, he's named 6 of them. And that's their forward group.
Okay, wait, I wasn't done yet. Cade Kennedy.
Yeah, Cade Kennedy's a great call.
I'll stop there. But what I'm saying is, I think that they have, I guess I'm jokingly saying they have some guys. It's just going to be a matter of who's going to take that?
I'm not saying they don't. I'm not questioning Humboldt whether they have a depth in their forward group.
No, I know.
I'm just saying somebody needs to be.
If anything, you've been championing their forward, their forward.
Two guys that are built for the playoffs and have no problem going to the house and taking whatever beating is Merrick Mamich and Landon Stromey.
Yes,
Mamich is my guy.
And Landon Stromey, he's got 26 points in 56 games for a fourth liner who is their captain. Right? But they don't ask him to get 26 points. No. He just goes out and does it because of how hard he works. Landon Stromey, Merrick Mamich are going to be absolutely key in this series for their offensive and for production to not only keep that motor going like they are, they're engines of teams, but also chip in offensively. For your second question, which was the goaltender matchup, there is no better goaltender matchup, in my opinion. And your third question was?
How many minutes can Oakley McIlwain play?
There isn't a tougher player in the SJHL, in my opinion. This guy has taken pucks to the face. He's broken his orbital bone, played in the game. Crazy injuries, goes to the hospital, gets patched up, comes back, gets redressed, and comes back into the final 5 minutes of the game to try and help his team win. Yeah. He's an absolute warrior. If he needs to play 35, he'll play 35 on one leg. Yeah. So does he need to? I hope not. I hope there's more balance, but can he? Yes, he's crazy.
And just from a personal, obviously, I'm so happy to see Liam Hunks get this opportunity, play for the Flin Flon Bombers in the playoffs, and I know he's going to be terrific. So very excited to see that.
Prediction time. Now, Nugsy, I'll start with you because Rory, I can see him. I
already know what I'm going to say.
Rory, do you want to start it off?
Yeah, sure.
Thank you. Can I abstain?
Recency and what they've done in the regular season with consistency goes via way of Flin Flon. Mm-hmm. Humboldt is going to make this a series, but my prediction will be Flin Flon in 7.
Love that.
Yeah.
and they can yell at me on the bus all they want
Good.
and hopefully prove me wrong. But I even texted Mike when there were still 6 games in the regular season. He says, you know, how are you guys looking? You know, and I was like, Mike, I don't want to see your face or talk to you until the finals. Like, I don't even want to see you in the first round. Like, I just knew it was going to happen because we played Flin Flon so much. I was joking. Of course, I do love Mike, but we've played them so many times, four times in the last 6 years. And Flin Flon's won every one of those. So I think this is a long series, but I'll say Flin Flon in the Whitney Forum in 7.
Man, oh man, oh man. Yeah, hey, look. Again, I'm just going to be cheap and say you got to play Game 7 at the Whitney. That's the problem with the home ice advantage situation. It is a coin flip. This series to me is a coin flip. Great experience the coaches, but you have to play the Whitney in Game 7. And I'm sorry, Humboldt. I don't know who's beating Flin Flon in Game 7 at the Whitney Forum. So, Flin Flon in 7.
Oh, I was going to say, are you not going to say it? Because I feel like you're saying it without saying it.
We've agreed so far. That's kind of annoying.
I'm going to, if I had to say, I'm going to go Flin Flon in 6.
Okay.
I feel like the 2 at the Whitney to start will go Flin Flon's way. The 2 at the EPA could both go Humboldt's way. And then I think Flin Flon will come out strong
Very
at the
specific.
Whitney and then come out strong
I
at
respect
Humboldt.
that.
I'm being very precise here.
Yeah.
But if it does go to that 6th game, I am hoping to be at the EPA, Rory. So if you can get me one of those rink burgers that you didn't get me the first time.
They do not make them anymore.
Okay, well.
I'll get you a ticket.
Okay, thank you. Good enough.
Who needs a ticket?
I'll take it. All right, let's have a look at the schedule because this is how it's all going to break down. So if you're in the Flin Flon area March 21st, 22nd, you're going to be at the rink, I'm guessing. If you're in Humboldt in March 25th or 26th, you're going to be at the rink, I'm guessing. Game 5 will go down on March 29th in Flin Flon. Game 6, March 31st in Humboldt. And then Game 7 again Wednesday, April 2nd, back at the Whitney Forum in Flin Flon. So there's how the schedule breaks down. Again, start getting your tickets now. In these 2 markets, can't imagine those tickets last very long.
No.
Let's move on to the 3rd series, which features the 3rd place Weyburn Red Wings and the 6th place Battlefords North Stars. This series not too long ago was very much reversed as Battlefords played Weyburn a couple years ago. Weyburn snuck out that sneaky Game 1 victory. This was at the beginning of that Cody Mapes building this team to what it is today. Battlefords had their dynasty going at the time. It's reversed now, but is it? We'll talk about that in a sec. The head-to-head season series is 3-1 in favor of the Battlefords North Stars. And if you look at it, Battlefords actually got points in all 4 of those games, so that's an interesting tidbit to consider going forward here. Weyburn had 72 points on the year, Battleford 63. Goals for was pretty close, 218 for Weyburn, 205 for Battlefords. The biggest difference was in the goals against department as Battlefords had a -6 goal differential with 211 goals against. Weyburn had 166 against. Power play, penalty kill, special team stuff, close, but Battlefords did edge them out on the power play side of things. Weyburn does have a pretty deadly power play though overall. You see their leading scorers down at the bottom there, Jerome Maharaj and Anthony Campbell. Guys, that's the overview of the season of this series. Rory, can you dive into some more season series and metrics and numbers and stuff like that?
Yeah, as you mentioned, Battlefords had points in all 4 of the games, losing 1 in a shootout, 3-0-0-1. In the regular season, they outscored lots of goals. They outscored Weyburn 21-14. That's a combined 35 goals in 4 games between these 2 teams.
It's the 80s, boy, fellas. It's the 80s.
Yeah. Battleford's power play was clicking at 21.7%, while their penalty kill is 75.7%. So in reverse, Weyburn's power play was 26.3%, while Battleford's penalty kill was 78.3%.
Thanks, Kelly. I did eat lunch, though. Thank you for that.
Both above 20 power play, both below 80 penalty kill in these head-to-head series. It's a run-and-gun series, Nugsy, as I know what you're going to get into. It should be high-scoring. I know playoffs usually tighten up a bit, but if there was one series where you don't expect it to, it's this one.
Yeah, 80s style hockey, as I just said there. Like, these 2 teams have some of the highest of high-end skill in the league. You think of Nikita Ivashenko for Battlefords. You think of Ethan DK and Jerome Maharaj for Weyburn, and those are 3 guys that you pay your ticket to come and watch.
Yeah.
And you know what? One of the best games, maybe the best game that I've seen live this year, was that Crescent Point place between these 2 teams when Weyburn was on a 14-game unbeaten run and Battlefords beat them, and Battlefords has been giant killers all year long. It's really an element where the Battlefords North Stars play better against the better teams and bring their games down maybe a little bit to lower teams. But you know what? It's going to be a fun series no matter what happens, because both of these teams don't have a slow down switch. They're both very fast, and it should make for a great hockey series, fellas.
Yeah. Okay, well, let's dive into the matchups then. Who do you guys think are the matchups to watch in this one?
So I went with kind of, more of an obscure one instead of a player versus player, and I went the blue line turnover battle and defensive gaps. Because of these two teams, they both love to run and gun and find offense. They both have good goaltenders who I think almost cancel each other out a bit. They both have defensemen that like to jump up into the rushes or also look for a springing forward with an outlet pass. So how are your gaps, right? If you're backing off on players, trying to make that right time move, is there someone covering you if you are going to jump up into the rush? Are you strong along your lines? Because when I look at the forwards, when I look at the top line for each, I like them both equally. When I look at the top pairing and their skating ability, a Jordan Grill, a Max Chakrabarty, I like them both. When I look at Justin Merrick versus Angelo Zoll, I like them both. So what is going to be the X factor turning point in the series? To me, it's odd man rushes. Whoever limits the odd man rushes is going to win this series, and that's based off your blue line control, your breakouts at the blue line and your entrances on the attacking blue line, making sure you're covered, making sure you're responsible, making sure you're making the right timing of your gaps and your jumps, and that's my matchup to watch.
Yeah, I mean, you can and both Marty Smith and Cody Mapes are going to emphasize those things, but it could all just fall apart into a track meet in between these two teams. As much as those guys are probably saying those things over and over again. The key matchup for me is the goalie one. Both Justin Merrick and Angelo Zoll have proven to be as elite as anybody in the league. They're both showcase all-star goalies. Obviously, Justin Merrick, a bigger track record, but maybe more of an up and down season. Angelo Zoll, much shorter track record. This is his first real kick at the can as the #1 going to the postseason. We saw how good Daza was in the playoffs last year for the most part for Weyburn. So Zoll getting the ball to run with here. We talk about the offenses for these teams. What can mitigate that is an incredible goaltending performance. But we've seen Justin Merrick against this Weyburn team this year be wonderful. Like, no matter what you think about Justin Merrick's season, when it's the Weyburn Red Wings, he's been great. 2-0-1 on the year with a .920 save percentage against Weyburn for Justin Merrick. So
that's all right.
That's an interesting matchup, Zoll and Merrick as well.
Yeah. Well, I definitely think Angelo Zoll is putting himself in the conversation. I'll say it now. I'll say it in the season preview next year. But next year's goaltender of the year, like, he's the early runner already. So can this be an early legacy cementer kind of series? I'll say that's the kind of what I'm looking for. X factors, though, guys. What do you guys got for this one?
Justin Merrick.
Yeah.
A healthy, good, not healthy, bad. I understand that Justin Merrick has had some, consistency issues with being able to play larger workload in his 20-year-old season, right? So can he handle a potential 7-game series and longer? I think Battlefords needs him. They need him to be on. Weyburn is so offensively powerful that you can't have a non-veteran goaltender like Justin Merrick. Can he stay healthy and can he stay engaged throughout what I see is going to be a longer series? He's my X factor. If Battlefords has him, they have as good a shot at winning this series than Weyburn does.
Yeah, 100%. And again, I don't know how we even call Battlefords an underdog in this series, given what happened in the regular season. I don't think we can. So anyways, maybe that's a burning question. We'll get to that in a second. X Factor, Jordan Grill missed a bunch of time with injury this year, missed a bunch of time late in the season with injury, came back late in the regular season, which is great news for Battlefords and for the series. He and Owen Dick have been a pretty good pairing when they've been together, which is the last couple games, and they were really big in their sweep at the end there against Kindersley. But Jordan Grill's got to stay healthy. That is huge. I think he just elevates this whole Battlefords team by himself. So I asked how many minutes Oakley McIlwain can play. I asked how many minutes Jordan Grill can play, and Jordan Grill is my X factor.
My X factor is almost an X factor with an EX, and I'm talking about ex-captain Jackson Allen. He's not in the lineup. How much is that going to affect the Battlefords North Stars? But he'll be on the bench. Yeah. So will that be a factor? I'm sure it will be in terms of on-ice production. But how much will he affect the boys in the locker room on the bench, outside of the game itself? That's one thing I'm going to look at.
Quick X factor for Weyburn, since all three of ours were Battlefords related, and I don't want Cody Mapes yelling at us because I know he does watch the show. The face-off circle. right? And your depth centerman and your face-off specialist. Weyburn has some of the best at it, especially with team support. The Blake Betsons, Maharaj Kawindraws, Ruthven Kawindraws, Schmidt, Moldy. They got really good face-off winning centermen, and the team that dictates the play and controls where it's going by winning face-offs, I believe has a huge advantage in this series. So face-off specialties is going to be a huge one for Weyburn.
And again, I believe big time that Cypress Smith-Davis is just built for playoffs, goes to the blue paint.
There you go.
DK and Maharaj and those guys can fly and generate and find
Another
open
face-off guy,
space.
DK as well. So.
Ethan DK, yeah. I mean, he's just elite at everything in this league. But hey, when Cypress Smith-Davis is in the lineup, Weyburn is way better because they can spread out their lineup a lot more.
Sure.
And so, hey, let's go. Should be
that.
a lot of fun.
I changed my X Factor. It's Cody Mapes. My X Factor is Cody Mapes. And no, I mean, Coach of the Year candidate. So, I mean, he has a great season under his belt. But let's go to burning questions.
Yeah, sure. Basically what Rory was talking about with his X Factor, which Justin Merrick will show up.
Right.
That's my one question. Are the North Stars really the underdogs? Their fans are saying they are. I don't know. I'm not saying they are at all, given that they've taken 7 of a possible 8 points from Weyburn this year. Have been great games. And finally, which Weyburn pairing will get the task of stopping what might have been, gotta word myself better than that.
That's okay.
Been the best line in the SJHL the last little while with Anthony Campbell between Nikita Ivashenko and Josh Nittig.
Right.
That has been the best, most consistent line in the SJHL the last little while.
Very good.
Which 3 are you guys going?
Well, I'll take the Justin Merrick one because I know you already touched on it. I didn't really talk about it a whole lot yet. But I think in terms of ranking goalies on the scale of who can steal a game when the team needs it the most right now, I'm going to put Daza number 1. I'm going to put Justin Merrick a very close number 2. I think he has that ability in his back pocket, like you guys said. Healthy, very good. So I'm going to say that Justin Merrick, I think you're going to see the good one. I feel like we're going to get a good series out of these goaltenders, and I think he's going to show up. So that's my answer to that one.
And I'll take the underdog one. Absolutely, they are the underdog. Regular season is not the playoffs, and Weyburn enters this series with less question marks than the Battlefords North Stars do, a better record than the Battlefords North Stars have, better play down the stretch than the Battlefords North Stars were, more goals, less goals against than the Battlefords North Stars currently have. Battlefords is the underdog to me. There's a question mark around Grill. There's a question mark around Merrick. There's a question mark around their health, question mark around their consistency.
Yep.
Weyburn doesn't have as many, and they're a better team throughout the year in the regular season. That's why they're the third place team.
Right.
So they're an underdog. But
okay. On that note, then, Rory, predictions.
Battlefords in 6.
There you go. I knew you had that in your pocket, so I wanted to go to you first.
Battlefords in 6. I do think they will pull off an upset here.
Yeah.
I'm really putting my chips into the Justin Merrick pool, but I'm going to take Battlefords in 6.
Yeah. And by the way, the answer to the third one is I think Weyburn will play with Chakrabarty a lot and hope that they can be the one dictating as opposed to trying to defend against Ivashenko.
Sure. Yeah.
Ivashenko is very good in the offensive zone. Let you finish the sentence. Okay. Yes, I think Weyburn still is a deeper, healthier team right now. It's going to be a long series. It's going to be one of the more fun series we'll ever see. But I'm going to say Weyburn in 7.
Yeah, I'll say Weyburn in 6, guys. And I'm going to say that 6th game is going to go to like triple overtime. And it's going to be in Battlefords, right? So it'll be a triple overtime heartbreaker.
Yeah. I just think the depth factor for Weyburn in a playoff series.
I love the underdog take on this one, though, Rory.
Yeah.
And, talking to my boy Jeremy Corrigan, by the way, shout out to Jeremy, because we had a good conversation the other day about this. He also really likes the idea of Battlefords upsetting this one. So just wanted to throw that out there. Schedule time. Let's have a look at where these games will and when they will be played. March 21st and 22nd, of course, in Weyburn. March 25th, 26th in Battlefords. The 29th in Weyburn, the 31st in Battlefords, and then again on Wednesday, April 2nd, Game 7 in Weyburn. So there you go. Get your tickets now. Again, these tickets won't last long, so make sure you get those tickets as soon as you possibly can. Let's move on to the 4th versus 5th. This one's already started. This one's already 2 games in. The Yorkton Terriers and the Melville Millionaires, the Highway 10 rivalry. Look at that head-to-head. Almost basically dead even. Their points, their records, almost dead even. Goals for, goals against, much different story. 2 different teams. So we'll look at that in a sec. Power play, Yorkton had the 2nd best in the league. Penalty kill, Melville had the 4th best in the league. Otherwise, the other two were 9th and 11th, respectively. Jerron Denway, leading scorer, 75 points. Jaden Eogan, 48 points from Melville. So, guys, this one's, like I said, it's already started. They're 2 games in. They played over the weekend.
You should reiterate that the series has not.
The series
for people
has not
watching
started.
that are like maybe not too in tune with the SJHL, that it's not actually started.
The regular season ended. Thank you. It's a good point. The regular season ended. That's not us. That was actually the set of the movie Tron.
Oh, nice.
But yeah, no. Where are we?
The last 2 games of the regular season.
Yeah, thank you. I got distracted. There we are. Last 2 games of the regular season were in Yorkton and Melville. So, I mean, this is an exciting start to what this series is. That's why I say they're already technically 2 games in. They could hypothetically play 9 straight games against each other. And if that happens, oh my God, can I please already get tickets to that 7th game? Because that'll be insane.
Yeah.
But guys, this is probably the funnest matchup I think, at least I've seen in my time in the SJ so far. I know Benny Walchuk has seen one of these matchups way long ago. Yeah. He's been a part of this, so I know in his mind, I'm sure he's shaking a little bit because he's with excitement. But again, these teams just played, so this is the last game just this past weekend. Guys, Rory, can you actually dive in a little bit more on the season series for me?
Sure, and first off, congratulations to the Yorkton Terriers and Melville Millionaires. You guys have earned this. These are 2 teams that have failed to make the playoffs in a longer stretch. Well, maybe not longer
Melville
for
made it last
Yorkton.
year.
But before that, a couple years of 11th and 12th and 10th and rebuild, and did that rebuild work? Nope, and then 1 playoff exit early. So now you're getting this, which is, financially unbelievable for these 2 franchises. The longer it goes, the more money. But you're expecting 2,000 people in the barn minimum each game in both arenas. So you guys have earned it. Congratulations. And this is what it's all about when you do get an opportunity like this. So yeah, it's awesome to see. But for the season series, so technically Melville 4-3-1. In reality, though, because now we have to kind of take the forfeitures away.
There's only 1.
Yes. Yorkton did win 5 out of 8 games without those forfeits. So a goal differential of 35-26 through 8 games without the forfeits as well. I do factor in the goals that Yorkton scored when now the stats say it was 6-0 and 1-0. Melville's power play 15%, Yorkton's power play 25%. So the PK reverse it. Melville penalty kill 75%, Yorkton penalty kill 85%, which a 10% gap is a big discrepancy between these 2 teams in terms of the power play. Yeah, that's kind of the season series, but it was just close. It was 4-4, basically. One of them with a forfeit, which if it wasn't, it would have made it 5-4 in favor of Yorkton, actually.
Yeah. 5-3.
That's what I mean.
Yeah. Nugsy, you want to dive into that at all, or do you want to dive into matchups? Your choice.
I'll jump right into matchups. I'm very excited. Who isn't excited? We all wanted this. Let's be real. Highway 10 rivalry. People are not going to be friendly with each other. Doug Johnson, kind of old guard coach for Melville, his way of playing. Emery Lawson, new guard coach. I mean, he's been coaching for a while, but new in the SJHL. Right. So it should be a lot of fun. But my key matchup is, I think given the guys that have left, especially, for both teams, but especially for Yorkton, the emphasis is really on Jaron Denway and David Coyle to consistently create offense. So, and whoever's on their wing, we've seen Tate Schofer lately, we've seen William Leonard lately, whoever it is on their right wing. So that line versus Matt Chemis and Noah Bale, which we know is the top D pairing for Melville. And again, Denway and Coyle as forwards get as much ice time as any forwards in the SJHL, and why not? Because they've been unbelievable together. But Chemis and Belle should be a great pairing for them to take up on. It should be a lot of fun.
Yeah, I don't need to speculate into anything other than the obvious in this one, and it's Melville's defense and goaltending against Yorkton's offense. When you look at how they got to their goal differential, 2 very, very different ways. Melville doesn't allow a lot of goals, gets a good amount of offense. Yorkton outscores almost every team, except for the games they lose, obviously, but they're outscoring.
Is that how it works?
That's how it works. A lot of goals for, but also a decent amount of goals against. And, both a good goal differential.
But what
I'm trying to say. That was the best thing you've ever said.
It's so interesting, though, to your point about that, Rory, against 10 teams in the SJHL this year, the Melville Millionaires have stuck to their identity every night. it seems like, over and over.
Except
for the Yorkton Terriers.
I know.
It takes them out. I don't know what it is. It's the emotion. It's the hype. I don't know what it is. But every single time these two teams have played, Melville has had to get out of themselves somehow.
I don't like that for a series.
I don't know why.
I don't like it for a series too.
Right.
Yeah.
It's kind of bizarre, and I'm sure Doug Johnson's trying to rack his brain to figure out, say, hey, how do we stick to our identity through a 7-game series with our most hated enemies? It'll be very interesting to see if the Millionaires can achieve that.
It's probably why a lot of the road teams are winning in the regular season, right?
Yeah.
Like between these two teams, you expect home ice advantage, Highway 10, but it's almost just like your hated rival and you're too revved up and then you're off your game and what just happened? Well, we lost.
Yeah.
That's right.
You can't have that.
Yeah.
I just want to bring up some comments because I do want to bring in the viewers here a little bit. I'm going to go back a little bit, Jordan, in the back there, to Marianne Amaral. She says, playoff hockey is the new season. Humboldt Broncos will fight to keep their season going. I think I said something about Kai Benash's family watching.
Yep.
Jenny Gagnon says, yes, we are. So they are watching. I had a feeling they would be. Kiana Merton said the zoo is going to be rocking. Of course, she means the Whitney Forum. Let's see what else we got here. Karen Chason says Flin Flon Humboldt will be a very good series. I should have read these during the Flin Flon Humboldt conversation. But that's okay. And Lauren Olason says, let's not forget the forfeitures. The points don't count, but the Terriers did beat Melville. So we did touch on that. Thank you, Lauren, for reminding us, though. But Rory did mention that at the end there. Rory, I think I'm on your, did you do your matchup yet? Or I think I got
we're on X Factor.
X Factors. Thank you, Rory. Do you want to start off with X Factors?
Sure, 2 quick ones. For Melville, it's simple. It's power play.
Yeah.
Right? It's 11th in the SJHL, is not going to cut it in the playoffs. The Yorkton Terriers will bury you on the power play. I think it's going to be limited with the amount that you're going to get. But if Yorkton goes 1 for 3, 2 for 4, and you go 0 for 3, 0 for 4, that's 2 or 1 goals that you're going to have to overcome 5-on-5, which gets harder in the playoffs.
Right.
Melville, you got to find a way to get a little more productivity out of your power play. For Yorkton, I have depth scoring because I believe Melville can do a decent job of really locking up Denwye and Coyle, at least 5-on-5, right? So with most likely less penalty calls, more 5-on-5. I feel like your top dudes can be locked up a bit. So Yorkton, who lost Keenan Ingram, lost Dustin Arenas and all these guys, you're going to need to get Carter Broltz, Tylen Hendrickson, Vinay Junek to step up. And they're going to have to provide some offense.
Keep Tate Schofer healthy.
Yeah, Tate Schofer as well. Because if Coyle and Denwye can't find the bulk of the offense, is that now a Melville Millionaires controlled game that they're going to walk away with this series?
Right.
So your other guys have to be supplementary. Melville's got to find the power play. Those are X Factors.
There you go. For me, it's emotions. In the SaskTel Game of the Month, the emotions got away from the Melville Millionaires, and that helped the Yorkton Terriers take advantage. And full credit to the Terriers, they took advantage. You give Yorkton 5-on-3s for a long period of time, you're in big trouble. And David Coyle scored a gorgeous Michigan, and Rory had a great call of it. And that was a lot of fun. But emotions have to be really locked in because emotions are going to be high in the rinks. They're going to be packed. They're going to be loud. It's going to be fun. So you got to tap into that the right way. The teams have averaged over 20 minutes each per team of penalty minutes against each other in games between each other. So around 50 minutes of power play or of penalties combined over the games in the 8 games in the regular season.
Right.
So that's a lot of penalty minutes as well because emotions there. So you got to manage that the right way. And if you're Melville, stay within what you do. If you're Yorkton, stick with what you do because your game plan against Melville has really worked this year, even in the games you've lost. So.
And here's what I will say. If you ask Benny Walchuk about that series in 2014 between these two teams, it was the finals. So, I mean, there's a little bit different there.
Dynamic,
but the rinks have not been as loud as they are going to be in this series in a while. So I think to your point, Nugsy, the emotions are going to be key.
Yeah.
So key because it is going to be wild. I'm telling you guys, you don't even know. The Parkland region loves playoff hockey.
Can I make an appeal to Melville Millionaires fans, though? Like, I know you guys love to stand during games. There's so many people at the CN Community Center. The rink is packed, but it doesn't look as good on TV because you're all standing.
Yeah, that's true.
Go sit down. A few of you, like half of you. Go sit down. It's going to make it look better. That's all I'm saying.
It's very true. The standing area is like loaded. It's just blue seats.
I'll say this. For years working at Estevan.
Sit down!
For years working at Estevan, it was the exact same way. Everyone loves standing around that walking track. And in fairness,
Melville's fans are the worst.
In fairness, the views from the walking track in both rinks are very good. So I will say I get it. But to your point,
it was an appeal. It wasn't a demand.
Yeah. I have an X factor, but I have a feeling it's going to be one of your burning questions, Newsy. So you go ahead with your burning questions.
Sure. Usually the saying is, you bought your seat, but you only need the edge of it.
You only need the edge.
In Melville, if you bought your seat, you'll just need the track.
You only need the track.
You won't use the seat at all.
You won't use it at all.
Right. The intensity in this highly anticipated rivalry will be at fever pitch. Which one of these clubs will manage their emotions the right way?
Yeah.
Which is what I said. Do the Millionaires have enough offense to outshoot this potent Terriers attack? Even if the games are low scoring, you still need a few goals.
Yeah.
And Jaden Iogun has been great lately. Who else is it?
Yeah.
Who will win the battle between Matt Chemis and Noah Belial and that Coyle Denwai line?
Yeah.
So there you go. So the intensity, the emotions. Does Melville have enough offense? And who's going to win that big battle, that matchup battle?
You want to take this one, Rory?
I mean, the last one, just because no one has really stopped them in the second half of the season. Any pairing, no one has really been able to stop them completely.
Right. How much can you limit them?
How much can you? I think that Denwai and Coyle, I think I'll give the upper hand to win that battle. But it is the only thing that I think Melville needs to do in order to take control of the series, right? If they're able to shut those two down to a reasonable extent, 1 goal a game, right? They can't be scoring a goal each and 3 points, and you're going to lose if they're controlling that much of the offense. It's a lot of onus on whoever is matched up against them. But I'll say that I do believe that those guys are talented enough together to get past whatever defensive structure Melville is going to try to employ against them.
Yeah. And I'm going to take the emotions question, but I'm going to build onto it if you don't mind. And I'm going to say, I'm going to add to the wording of it, which goaltender will be able to handle the emotions best. Because we're looking at Melville having Jeanette and Lorette. Which one's going to run with it? We're looking at Yorkton having Farrow and Craig. Which one's going to run with it? And I think all 4 have arguments that you could make for
Game
either
1
one.
is so important for the goaltending, just
Absolutely.
narrative of it, because then you go into Game 2 after a loss. Do you change? Do you not?
Yeah.
If you change once, you can't change back, can you?
I remember we talked in the Kindersley Melfort series. We're like, you got to go with Jamin because
I remember, yes.
That seems like a long time ago. It was a long time ago. This is going to be a long show.
Bryce in the back has already been like, all right, guys.
Come on. I honestly believe Callum Craig has solidified the first overall, or not first, the number 1 goaltending spot, and then we'll see what happens in Yorkton. Melville, I have no idea, but I believe it is Callum Craig. We'll see what happens for Melville.
It's going to be very interesting, and I guarantee neither coach will tell us.
No,
and that's fine. Let's have a look. Oh no, sorry, prediction time. Prediction time.
Thought we can get by.
This one is going to be tough. I don't know where to go exactly. I'm gonna make my mind up as we go. Nugsy, you first.
I am going to go. I just think nobody's been able to stop the Coyle and Denwai train, and I've just seen Melville being taken apart by Yorkton too many times this year. So I'm actually going to go Yorkton in 6.
6. There you
Yorkton
go.
in 6.
I tell you what, I really don't know. but
Rory, question mark.
But me and Nugsy have agreed on all 3 series so far.
I said Weyburn, you said Battlefords.
Oh, I thought you said Battlefords.
No,
I said Weyburn.
Oh, then
you said
okay.
Weyburn in 7.
I said Weyburn in 7.
Well, then my original thought was Yorkton in 6. I was just going to go Melville to disagree with you. But I'll say Yorkton.
Still can.
No, I think Yorkton will come out of the series, and I'd like to go 4 for 4. Yorkton 7. Back at home.
Love that.
The Terriers in 7.
I want this series to go 7 so badly.
Can you imagine Game 7 in this series?
And I'm going to go Melville in 7. And mainly because if you remember, my fantasy hockey team was made up of like half Melville Millionaires. And I'm riding with my boys. So Melville, I got you. 7 games. Doug Johnson was even on my fantasy team. So I'm going 7 games, Melville.
No joke.
And I just want that series to go 7 so badly.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm going for. Let's have a look at the schedule. If it does go 7 games, here's what it'll look like. And this is the only one you have to pay attention to that Game 7. There was some changes to the schedule. I know there might be some confusion. This is the schedule. So have a look. It's March 21st and March 23rd not 21st to 22nd like a lot of the other series. There's a Elvis Stoico skating event or something mixed in there. So Yorkton, those get the first 2 games. Melville for game 3 and 4, March 25th, 26th. Game 5 will be in Yorkton, March 28th. Game 6, March 29th in Melville. And April 1st in Yorkton will be Game 7. That's the only Game 7 that's not on April 7th, or 2nd, sorry. So pay attention,
They just
April
went
1st.
way off the board.
They're
eh?
off the board. These guys, again, they had some scheduling conflicts. They were moving things in and out and up and down.
Elvis hadn't left the building yet.
Elvis has not left the building.
I loved how unfriendly that game of the month was. Like they were
it.
going at it. There was a taunting 10
Please go
minutes.
7.
There was people going. There was fisticuffs. There was all sorts of
Please
meanness.
go 7.
It was
Please
fun.
go 7. Road trip for Game 7.
Let's go, Kelly.
I'm road tripping for Game 1. Me and Nugsy will be there. I don't know if I'm dropping the ball on that and saying that too early, Nugsy, but I think we're going to Game 1
I'm
in
not
Yorkton.
100% sure.
Oh, okay, 90%. But I will be in Yorkton for Game 1 regardless. So there you go. I will be there, Yorkton. Nugs and notes. What do we got?
Sure. I'll just. Gotta let the guy sing and dance. He's a pain, that guy.
Yeah.
He's a real pain.
He's got a lot of
big
ego.
diva.
He's got a big ego.
So all I want to say is that the AAA U18 final has one team in it. That's the Regina Pack Canadians, which is not a big surprise. Maddox Schultz doesn't seem like he can be stopped. They beat the Blazers in 4. So they won 3 of the 4. And then Swift Current is one win away against Moose Jaw for making the finals. So it could be a Swift Current Regina final. And then Kamish will have his attention split, I'm sure, because his beloved Legionnaires will be going to upset the mighty Regina Pack Canadians in that final. But if you're in Regina or Swift Current, it might be worth it to get out and watch that. I might try to check out some Pat C's playoff finals games. Might be a lot of fun. So, hey, there you go. Congratulations to those guys. News and notes.
Do you have one more?
No.
Are you sure?
Oh, yes.
I
do.
Wait, hold
Sorry.
on. Do we have the are you sure about that? Yeah, we do.
Bryce is too annoyed to continue to help
We
us.
have gone long.
You sure about that?
He's like, whatever.
You sure about that?
guys,
You sure about that?
Right. Thank you, Clark.
You're welcome.
The Warman Wolverines
Right.
have announced that their season tickets will go on sale April the 1st. They are aiming at 1,000 season tickets off
Big
the
goals.
hop. That is
Hashtag
a
season ticket goals.
condition for the city of Warman approving the team's relocation from Notre Dame. The SJHL, of course, the Board of Governors have approved it. The city of Warman conditionally have approved it based on selling 1,000 season tickets, which is a big ask, but we know you can do it out there, Warman. And the Legend Center should be jammed.
I have a good feeling.
1,000 is a lot, though.
I know it's in a lot, but I have a good feeling.
But hey, aim.
Here's the way
aim
I'll
for the
say
moon, you miss, you land among the stars.
100%. Here's the way I look at it. If you're going to go to any games in year 1, aim for the moon, land in the stars.
No,
aim for the stars, land
it
on the
is
moon.
aim for the moon, you land among the stars. You miss.
I think it's the other. I think it is aim for the stars.
No, 100%
Bryce is
it's
in the
aim
back,
for the
like,
moon
come
and
on.
land among the stars.
But I'm just gonna say, if you're in the Warman area and you're gonna go to,
You're wrong.
If you're gonna go to any games in year 1, just get season tickets, and then you can give them around, pass them around, have some
fair.
fun. Just get season tickets. If you're gonna have one, just get all of them. But let's head to a break. When we come back, we're going to be joined by our special guest, Tony Dalglish of UPL Canada. He's our, of course, playoff sponsor, broadcast sponsor. UPL's all over the place. So who are they? What are they? We'll find out after the break with Tony. Stick around.
Your new truck trade-up has arrived at Capital GMC. Volume pricing is back. As inventory levels go up, prices come way down. And right now, we have over 250 brand new GMC Sierras to choose from. Lease a Crew Cab 4x4 Pro Edition for only $269 bi-weekly plus tax with $0 down. Or work with our finance experts to get the best available rates. Plus, GM certified pre-owned inventory is back too. Shop over 150 vehicles, all makes, all models. It's finally time for your new truck trade-up, only at Capital GMC.
Each year, the SCSA issues over 10,000 training certificates to the construction professionals who build our province. That's the population of Martinsville. Learn more at scsaonline.ca.
Saskatchewan's far north is where the land itself inspires. It's the beauty and power of wilderness, the solitude of a place far removed from what you might know. When this landscape surrounds you, it's like nothing else. Come and let it awaken you, energize you. Come and create your story in our Northern Lights and Waterways. Saskatchewan.
In a year where Amazon sold its first book, Alanis topped the charts, and the Frappuccino became cool, we were there. Trusted by the Saskatchewan construction industry since 1995. Learn more at scsaonline.ca.
As a student, things can pile up fast. Ouch. But the RBC Student Banking Bundle makes back to school easier with up to $275 in value. That's a whole pile of takeout.
Introducing SaskTel Student Saving Tips. Tip number 138. You could build your own pallet furniture.
Oh, you're living on your own. You gotta save money by building furniture with pallets.
Or get Infinite 150 for only $50 a month with SaskTel Student Deals.
Increase your home comfort with high-efficiency natural gas equipment. Sask Energy offers rebates so you can lower your energy use and save money. For a list of rebates, contact a participating network member or visit saskenergy.com.
Original 16. Celebrate things done well.
All right, welcome back inside. Have you caught your breath? Because that first segment was a big one. I know it was. But we're coming back with a very special guest. We had him last year at this time. Tony Dalglish is joining us, Canadian Marketing Manager at UPL. Tony, we talk about UPL all the time on this show. But some people are like, what is UPL? So the question to you is, what is UPL? And I know supporting things in Saskatchewan is a big deal for you. So can you talk about who you are and why Saskatchewan is so important?
Yeah, so you see the initials UPL everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
It's, the joke is we're the biggest company you've never heard of.
Yeah.
So what we are, we're an agricultural chemical manufacturer. We make synthetic chemistries as well as biological products to help service farmers' needs all across Canada and specifically for Saskatchewan as well. When you look at a little over 50% of the agricultural land being in Saskatchewan, it's obviously a very, very important area for us.
So last year at this time, we talked about a new product for you. Battalium, I believe, was new at the time. You think you have some other stuff going on? What's new at UPL?
Yeah, well, over the last year, we've been kind of launching several products. So Battalium being one of those, we just launched that kind of last January and had a really good introductory season for it last year, and looking to build off of that momentum. And then we've got a few other new products as well. Wave, it's a new biological product to help stimulate growth specifically in canola crops, which obviously is critical here in Saskatchewan. And new insecticides and a few other herbicide products as well. So that's really exciting times for us.
So get in touch with UPL, figure it out. The farming season is right around the corner, and so a lot of people have probably already gotten it underway. I shouldn't speak because I don't know much about it. I have family in the farming industry, but they're probably started months ago. What am I talking about? Now, partnering with the SJHL, you guys partnered with us a couple years ago. Obviously, it's been a great partnership. You can see you're right on the desk over here. You're every show we do, you're all over the place. So what was the importance of supporting junior hockey at the provincial level for you guys when you jumped in, and how has that grown over the years?
Yeah, well, for us, it's it's really important for us to partner with people in the communities that we operate in, and obviously the SJHL being centralized here in Saskatchewan with a number of great communities.
Yeah.
And we've got reps that live in the communities where the teams are playing. So it was really just a seamless fit for us. The values, all the work ethic that goes along with junior hockey really aligns with what it is that we stand for, and it's been a great collaboration here over the last couple of years and look forward to continuing into the future.
Yeah, so years ago I worked in Estevan, which is, there's a lot of farming around that area, of course. You mentioned every community there has farming around it, but I always remember the joke was, your crowds won't be good until harvest is over. And it's usually about a month or so into the season, then you see the farmers come out and the families come out and everybody comes out and gets to the games. So I guess since you started, what are some of the ongoing results of our partnership so far from your perspective in terms of how it's changed or developed?
Yeah, no, it's been great so far. You know, when I have stories from our reps being at the local rink with their kids, and you have community members come up and saying thank you for partnering with the local clubs and with the SJHL, that really resonates with the community, and that's really what we're all about.
And you mentioned you were in Yorkton just this week, and there was a lot of buzz around Yorkton right now. Can you talk about that?
Yeah, no, it was we were just in meetings here for the last couple of days in Yorkton, and you know, previous years when I was there wasn't a whole lot of chatter about the team there, but hearing about this Highway 10 rivalry happening, and when you got people in town already excited about it, it's really looking forward to seeing the, you know, as the predictions go, you know, seeing a 7-game series.
Boy.
It's going to be exciting.
It's going to be a lot of fun. Do you have any plans, I guess, for the playoffs in terms of UPL being involved in any of the rinks or out in the communities? Do you have any plans for that?
Yeah, no, we're really excited here. We got a couple different things here for the players. You know, we've been as part of our sponsorship, we got our logos everywhere. One of the things is the playoff MVP. That's one of the things that we've been a proud partner of for the last couple of years. So that'll be in place as well, again this year. And then we also have where we're going to be calling like a playoff performer. So every game, there's going to be an opportunity for one of the players to, you know, earn the right to win some UPL, SJHL branded swag. But for the fans, you know, you're not left out either here. We're gonna, you predicted a couple overtime games here coming up, and so just encourage the fans, stay involved, stay live on social media, and any games that go to overtime, put in your predictions. If you pick the right player, we'll have some branded swag for you there too.
Yeah, UPL Overtime Challenge, folks. So like you said, stick around on Twitter and our social medias, and if you pick the right player to score the game-winning goal, free stuff. You love that. Do you have any predictions in terms of who you think is going to go all the way? Anything you want to touch on there? You want to throw anybody a little bone here?
Well, you know, I think there's probably more parity in the league this year than there has been in a number of years. So it's going to be really exciting. But for me, I've got a personal connection. So with Matthew Keeper at Flin Flon, his dad works in the industry. I've known him for a number of years. So it's going to be hard to cheer against that.
Yeah, nepotism at its finest, folks. Anyways, Tony, thanks for joining us. I can't wait to see you at the rinks. I know it's going to be an exciting playoff for everybody. And thank you so much to UPL for being such a huge partner of the SJHL.
Oh, thanks for having me.
Thank you. All right, we're going to come right back. When we come back, he just mentioned Matthew Keeper. He's up for a couple of awards. Will he win them? We're going to do our year-end award winners after this break. Stick around.
The Chevrolet Silverado 1500. Advanced power and capability to tackle the long hauls. Style to make a statement on the streets. Visit ChevroletOffers.ca to learn more.
Each year, the SCSA issues over 10,000 training certificates to the construction professionals who build our province. That is the same population as Weyburn. Learn more at scsaonline.ca.
When you buy a lottery ticket in Saskatchewan, your money really goes a long way. More than 12,000 sport, culture, and recreation groups receive funding from Sask Lotteries every year. Everyone wins.
My name is Kyle McIntyre, and I'm the commissioner of the SJHL. We have 12 teams spread out all over this amazing province. 12 teams that hit the road for a combined 324 season games. We take hockey players, we make them better. make them better at hockey and better at life. That's what the SJHL is all about. We have a great league, we have great teams, great ownership, the best fans, the best partners, and the best sponsors.
Sask Energy Network members are the best choice for natural gas solutions for your home or business. With comprehensive services like heating equipment maintenance, appliance installation, and in-store financing, they have natural gas solutions that go beyond heating to bring you the comfort, efficiency, and reliability of natural gas, both indoors and outdoors, all year long. For whole home natural gas solutions, network members burn brighter.
Introducing SaskTel Student Saving Tips. Tip number 236. You could dye your own hair. Or you could save up to $20 a month on a new wireless plan with SaskTel Student Deals.
Enjoying what's around you. That's what it's all about. Farm to table, in season, locally foraged, look out the window and that's exactly what you'll see on your plate. It's the kind of experience that you'll compare everything else to for years to come. And it's so close, you can almost taste it. Indulge in our unlimited lakes and parkland. Saskatchewan.
Original 16. Celebrate things done well.
All right, welcome back inside SJHL Weekly. It's the playoff preview. If you missed it, we did the whole playoff preview already. Now it's time for the year-end awards. So let's dive right in. Guys, it was an exciting season, a ton of great performers. We have our finalists for each award. Yeah, drum roll, please. We have our finalists for each award, and we will talk about the winners shortly afterwards as well. So let's have a look. We'll start with the SGEU MVP. Let's have a look at the finalists. We had Riley Kotai of the Melfort Mustangs. We had Jaron Denwye of the Yorkton Terriers, and we had Matthew Keeper of the Flin Flon Bombers. And dun-da-da-da, the winner, thank you, Bryce, of the MVP, SGEU MVP, Matthew Keeper of the Flin Flon Bombers. Rory, it was an outstanding season. He came in a little bit late, but nonetheless, his numbers were literally video game numbers. Can you tell me about him?
Yeah, Matthew Keeper couldn't be here tonight to accept his award, so I will be accepting it on his behalf.
Okay.
The MVP, what can I say? Wow. Okay. It's an honor.
Yeah.
It? That's right, yeah.
It's an honor.
Matthew, and myself, we figured we'd be just short for words and just say thank you
true, yeah.
to our family and everyone.
Keepering it short.
180 goals against average, and Flin Flon out of the playoffs before they get him in, go on an insane unbeaten in regulation run of like 24 games or whatever it was, ends up with a 23-2-1-1 record, a .935 save percentage, first in the league, and a 180 goals against average, first in the league, 3 shutouts. He's everything that the Flin Flon Bombers could have imagined when getting him, and without him, probably not second place.
Yeah.
Maybe not even home ice advantage. Like just with the way they were playing prior to it, hard to argue that they would not be second place without him. So it's a very, very earned MVP award for Matthew Keeper.
There you go. Absolutely. Let's move on. It was the Borgo Forward of the Year candidates. We had Jacob Streetsy of the Humboldt Broncos. We had Riley Kotai of the Melfort Mustangs. We had Jaron Denwye of the Yorkton Terriers. And the winner of the Borgo Forward of the Year is Jaron Denwye of the Yorkton Terriers. Guys, he had a fantastic season. Often considered, MVP caliber, led the league in points per game. Nugsy, what can you tell me more about Jaron Denwye?
Yeah, and not just that, and this makes me happy because it's not just about points with Denwye, even though he was second in points in the league, but he's gritty, peeled penalties, did everything that Emery Lawson could have wanted in terms of a leader in the room. He finished with a plus-minus of plus 18, playing around 20 minutes a game as a forward, which is a lot of minutes as a forward.
Yeah.
So, Jaron, well-deserved, and easily could have been MVP as well. He was outstanding from start to finish, and a big-time member of the fantasy champions, Team Noogstradamus.
Oh, no.
Could say the captain of Team
Yeah. Absolutely.
Way to go, Jaron.
Congrats, Jaron. Great season. And again, consistency, I think, is a huge key to that one. He was so good all year long. The Super U Defenseman of the Year. The candidates were Nick Andrusiak of the Melfort Mustangs, Rylan Silzer of the LaRange Ice Wolves, and Max Chakrabarty of the Weyburn Red Wings. And the winner, Nick Andrusiak of the Melfort Mustangs, Defenseman of the Year, 44 games played, 31 points. Such a solid player. And it seems like Melfort just keeps reloading with these types of guys. Rory, can you tell me about Nick Andrusiak?
Yeah, Nick couldn't be here to accept. I'm just kidding.
Where have I heard that? It's so familiar.
I'm gonna call the next winner up and get him on a video chat before we get him in here.
As complete a defenseman as there is in the SJHL, did he have as many points as some of the other guys? No, but the Melfort Mustangs were the best defensive team, and when Nick Andrusiak is on the ice, he's the best defenseman on the ice in the league. Power play, penalty kill, breakout, setting up, whatever you want, this guy does it, and very earning of the Defenseman of the Year.
There you go. All right, we'll move on to the IKS Media Rookie of the Year, and we'll see the finalists here in front of us are Thomas Reese of the Yorkton Terriers, Max Chakrabarty of the Weyburn Red Wings, and Brett O'Halloran of the Kindersley Clippers. And the winner of the Rookie of the Year award is Max Chakrabarty of the Weyburn Red Wings. Guys, often we talked about this as should he, shouldn't he be? However, he was, and he won. So he got the most votes. Nugsy, what can you tell me about the outstanding season of Max Chakrabarty?
Yeah, 25 power play assists to lead anybody as well. Look, we saw that he dominated BC Junior B last year. Would that translate to the SJ? The answer from the very beginning was yes. He dominated start to finish. It's a big piece of why the Weyburn Red Wings have done what they've done this year, and well-deserved with a great mustache as well.
I did. Actually, now that you say it, let's go back, because I did. In order of what we did, I actually missed an award, but we'll get it in now. It's the SaskTel Goaltender of the Year.
Actually makes more sense this way anyway.
It does, kind of, in a sense, and we'll see why in 22 seconds. Matthew Keeper of the Flin Flon Bombers is up for this one. Brett O'Halloran.
Quick cheer.
Brett O'Halloran of the Kindersley Clippers and Christian Coombs of the Melfort Mustangs. I wonder who won it. Matthew Keeper.
He's a keeper.
Rory, you already talked about him, but again, just the significance of Matthew Keeper.
Well, look, the thing is, the MVP is the most valuable, and just because you win one doesn't mean you shouldn't win your own positional award. He was the best goaltender of the year.
Yeah.
So, you don't spread them out just because the sake of spreading them out. He's the best goaltender. He was also the most valuable player, and he won them both.
His goals against average was .21 better than second place.
Right.
Yeah. Like Christian Coombs.
Pretty insane.
That's pretty good.
But shout out to Christian Coombs, by the way. Great season.
Yeah.
Let's move on to the Cantera Seeds Saskatchewan Player of the Year. The candidates were, now, Zach Summers of the Melfort Mustangs, fantastic season. Rylan Silzer of the LaRange Ice Wolves, and Cohen Senft of the Flin Flon Bombers. And if you were in the building on Friday night, you know the winner of this one was Rylan Silzer of the LaRange Ice Wolves. They handed out the award on Friday night in LaRange, but we're telling you now, in case you weren't paying attention or you didn't see it, a great season from Rylan Silzer. Truly one of the best leaders in the league, I would say. A very good and deserving Saskatchewan-born Player of the Year. Nugsy, Rylan Silzer.
Yeah, Saskatoon kid. It was a tough year up and down in LaRange. They fought to the very end to get into the postseason. And, when they didn't have Rylan Silzer, it was a big difference than when they did. And he had some injury issues at the very end there. But, hey, what an incredible season. What an incredible SJHL career. I know he'll go on to great things wherever he goes next year.
Yeah.
Incredible captain as well. And, put up big points in the Mel Hegland Uniplex. Last captain at the Mel as well for any LaRange Ice Wolf. And so a well-deserved award for Rylan Silzer of Saskatoon.
And
there you go.
The second only winner of that award. It's only been around for 1 year.
It's only been around, right. Good point.
Last captain in the Mel and the second official winner.
There you go. I like that. Thank you, Rory. The SJHL most sportsmanlike player. Let's check out the candidates here. It's Mason Buchert, last year's winner of the Kindersley Clippers. He was in Laurent last year. Eric Hoynes of Nipawin and Jaden Aogan of the Melville Millionaires. And the winner this year is Jaden Aogan. He upsets last year's defending champion, but he was a fantastic example of sportsmanship this season. Rory, Jaden Aogan, what a great player, what a great story.
Yeah, an NCAA Division I commit, a point per game, basically player, 48 and 51.
Close.
Right, it's there for me, and 2 penalty minutes. Right, the guy does everything.
Nugsy, you had a stat the other day when we were talking about this, something about his penalty minutes and why it was significant. Was that you, or was that you, Rory? If it wasn't either of you.
Well, my point is what I said in my article. You probably read my article, maybe. Which is up right now, by the way.
Check it out.
You can read about it. He has more shorthanded goals this year than penalty minutes.
Yeah. That's what it was. Yeah.
3 shorthanded goals and 2 penalty minutes, which is pretty crazy. So, because he's not the one in the box for Melville, he's able to score shorthanded goals. Yeah. He also has 8 shorthanded goals over the last 2 years, which is more than anybody. He had 5 last year. So what a weapon he is at any point, and he looks terrific right now.
Absolutely. Fantastic. And I can't wait to see him on Friday night in Yorkton. The Saskatchewan Construction Safety Association Coach of the Year. We have Cody Mapes, first-time nominee from the Weyburn Red Wings. We have Emery Olawson, first-time nominee from the Yorkton Terriers. We have Trevor Blevins. He might as well be inked in the candidacy of this almost every single season. Who won this one this year, though? It was Trevor Blevins of the Melfort Mustangs. Look at those numbers, guys. I mean, how could he not get it? #1 power play, #1 penalty kill, almost 100-plus goal differential. The record better than Flin Flon's last year when Coach Mike Reagan won last year. So how could it not be Trevor Blevins?
It couldn't be. It was his, I don't even say his to lose, because it was him on it, I think, from a certain point of the season on. What an incredible season for all 3 of those coaches, especially the first-time nominees, Cody Mapes and Emery Olawson. Very deserving to win it, but I think even they understand with the season Melfort Mustangs had, it was Trevor Blevins.
Yes, absolutely. You want to touch on that, Nugsy?
Yeah, look, the thing that's the most impressive to me is the fact that they win that many 1-goal games, so they're never out, they never quit on a game. And 2, they all went to, remember they were in the Centennial Cup finals yesterday?
Yeah.
And there was no hangover whatsoever, no sort of trouble getting ready to go because they all have rings. They want more, they're hungry for more, and Trevor Blevins deserves credit for building that culture that they have there in Melfort that says, hey, our standard is good, and it doesn't matter if we were in the championship game of the Centennial last
100%.
year.
Well done, Trevor. Well deserved. Absolutely. The RBC Community Ambassador of the Year. Now, do we have the finalists, guys, in the back? Do we have the finalists for that one? Because we don't have a winner. Okay, so here's what I'll say for that. Actually, Newsy, do you want to touch on that? The RBC Community Ambassador?
So the vote for that hopefully is up now.
Should be
I'll
now.
make a post about it as well to point you to it. The final 5, there's made a post for it, and you can go and check that out. But we had a lot of good guys who are up for that. So make sure you stay tuned to SJHL social media.
Yeah. So there's 5 finalists. You can vote on it on the website until April 13th. Yeah. So. Make sure you guys go do that. Check it out. And just finally, just a quick mention, the SJHL points leader this season, led the league in points. Riley Kotai of the Melfort Mustangs. There he is, top scorer, 39 goals this year, 38 assists. We talked about him so many times this year. He had so many huge, 3, 4, 5-point games. What a player. Riley Kotai, and I can't wait to see him in the playoffs.
I will also say that I didn't win the fantasy, but I do end up with the league's top scorer. I did draft him.
You did draft him.
I made
good choice.
A few smart decisions.
It's true.
Yep. Josh.
You're not dumb, Rory.
Josh Kotai, his big brother at Augustana, was trying to do some campaigning for Riley, but obviously it's not up to me. So.
Right. Absolutely. So there you go. There's our award winners. Congrats to everybody. Congrats to everyone who was nominated. Congrats to everybody who got a vote. That's not public, but there was a lot of well-deserving players for all these awards this year. So congrats to everyone. But let's just bring up those series schedules really quickly one more time. Jordan in the back. We'll start with the Melfort series, 1 versus 8. Melfort Kindersley again. Get to these games. Get to these rinks. Fill these barns. These are going to be very, very fun. and great atmospheres. There's the Melfort Kindersley series, as you can see. Let's move on to the Flin Flon Humboldt series. Get your tickets for these ones now. They will not last long. Do not wait. You will not be able to get a walk-up ticket. Just get them in advance. Maybe I shouldn't say you won't be able to get a walk-up ticket, but...
No, you can say that.
Okay, you won't be able to get one, so get one in advance. As soon as they come out, call Rory. Or anyone in Flin Flon.
We'll put his number on the...
Do not call me.
Rory's number is...
You might see Rory there, though.
Yeah. I'll be in Flin Flon. We leave tomorrow, so if you're trying to get me to buy you tickets, I don't know if
I just meant for the Humboldt games, but that's okay.
I'm still not me.
No.
Call Amy at the office.
I know you've sold it. I've seen you sell tickets. I've physically seen you sell tickets.
Or go along the proper channels to get Humboldt Broncos tickets.
The Weyburn Red Wings Series 3 versus 6 against Battlefords. Here's the schedule there. As you can see, make sure you get your tickets there as well. And then finally, the 4 versus 5. Again, I will be at the Friday game 1 in Yorkton. Very excited. And again, note the differences in this one, as there are some different dates from the other series. Guys, final words. Final words. Newsy, I'm starting with you.
It is the first. I know there was some confusion in the comment section about whether it's April 2nd. Yep. I got 100% confirmation 100% that it is April the 1st.
Which is tough, because you could be fooling people.
So yeah, exactly.
That's
it is technically April Fool's.
I can't wait. Let's go. Playoffs. Very excited.
Playoffs,
Woo! Playoffs.
No more final. I mean, great breakdown, guys. Great regular season of shows. Now we're going to ramp up ourselves as well for some playoff features, some more interviews as we go along. But this is what they're playing for right here.
Right here. It's right here, folks.
Saw the video at the beginning. If any player watched that and didn't get fired up for the games on Friday and Saturday, games 1 and 2, this is going to be exciting.
This is an empty panel at the moment. It won't be empty in a few weeks, though. Who will be named the 2024-2025 Cantera Seeds Cup champion? Get to the rinks and find out. Make sure you follow us on all the social media channels that we have, because we will have you covered for all that, including on Flow Hockey. Get your subscription now. You can watch all the games there if you can't make it to the rink. Facebook, Twitter. How do you pronounce Facebook? Facebook.
He's Irish.
Irish or Alabamian. Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, and of course on YouTube. Alabamian? Alabama?
Like from Alabama?
Sure.
I don't know if it has a name.
Is it? They don't have names?
No.
And then, of course, all of our sponsors. Make sure you give a shout out. And if you see our sponsors out and about, give them a thank you for us. As we saw Tony from UPL, he's going to be in the rinks. They're going to be in the rinks. If you see a sponsor or there's a booth set up, because I know there was last playoffs, there was booths set up, thank you. Thank them for us. Cantera Seeds, Borgo, Capital Automall, Sask Lotteries, Chevrolet, Saskatchewan Construction Safety Association, Nutrient, Tourism Saskatchewan, Sask Energy, UPL, SJHL, Great Western, SGI, and RBC. Thanks to all of our sponsors. Next week, we'll be back on Monday for a regular edition, but playoff edition of SJHL Weekly. And Thursday next week, me and Nuggsy will be back with Insider to break down everything that's going on so far in the first round. We'll have game 1 and 2 on Monday. We'll have game 3 and 4 by Thursday. So make sure you tune in. We'll have you covered. We'll have special guests, and it should be a great time. Until then, get your tickets. They're not going to last long. Rory, Jamie, thank you guys. All 3 of you guys in the back. Bryce, is it Rolf and Jordan back there? Paul. Oh, Jordan. Bryce left. He was sick of it.
Well, we also went to that hour and 45 minutes.
Yeah, he was sick of it, so he took off. Thanks to Jacob for bringing in the Cantera Seeds Cup trophy today. Thanks to Tony for coming in. Thanks for Paul for shining up the trophy. Paul Druin of IKS Media for shining up the trophy. But again, get out to the rinks. Enjoy the hockey. Playoff season is here. None of us can wait. We're heading out right after this. So we'll see you there at the rinks. Bye for now.